Alrighty, y'all. This is going to be another fresh out of theater review. I just literally am leaving the theater right now. I just saw Spider-Man Brand New Day. Bear with me. This one will be harder to hear because it's a fresh out of theater review. Just like my Disclosure Day. Wow, that was a Spider-Man movie, y'all. Like, and I mean that in a great way. That was Spider-Man. Tom Holland's acting on this is the best I've ever seen him act. Ever. This man completely became Peter Parker and Spider-Man. This guy completely transformed. So, this is going to be kind of jumbled, if I'm being honest, because I just left the theater, and I'm driving, so I'm balancing things. But this is my movie of the year, okay? I'm going to go back and forth on plot points, and there will be spoilers in this thing. This movie is beautifully shot. Let's get that out of the way. The cinematography on this, they took Spider-Man seriously again. The web slinging, the just New York City looks freaking beautiful. Like, every shot here felt like it was actually taking superhero genre seriously again. It felt like it was actually making it a film and not trying to make it a piece of a puzzle in the greater cinematic universe or just make it look like everything else that comes out. It had emotional beats. Like, this movie almost gave me PTSD. There was a moment in the end there where I thought it was going to actually leave me in physical pain. Like, I was on the edge of my seat multiple times. There is a scene where MJ is overshadowed by a character who I will reveal later when I talk about this character. And this character throws MJ off an edge, and it gets similar framing to what happened with Gwen in TASM 2, and I was getting Vietnam flashbacks, okay? And it takes its good time, but he saves her. I was gripping my seat, okay? I thought that she might die, but thanks Spidey, she survives. I was really hoping they weren't going to go there again, and they did not. Where we meet Peter in his life, he's very alone. Holy crap, they're doing some sort of construction. Hold on, I gotta lock in here. I'm at a stop sign. Okay, so we meet Peter quite alone, and he's still struggling with the weight of nobody remembering who the heck he is, right? But he is also, he's got his Spider-Man tactics down to a T. Like, he's working with Jean DeWolf, and their banter is really nice, and he's really good at being Spider-Cop, and he's also really good at playing just like the Spider-Man side. But like, Peter is still miserable as all frick. Well, early on in the film, they get some answers on some strange happenings because people are being overshadowed left and right by a mysterious force. It overtakes Scorpion, which was really cool to see Scorpion in live action. I've been waiting to see Scorpion in live action for like literally since the Raimi days. And then just to see him return finally in the Tom Holland films was long overdue, but the way they do it is really, really good. We also get a bit of a montage in the beginning. That's where a lot of the villains come from. Like Tombstone, he's relegated just to a montage, which is fine because it felt very comic booky. But it was funny how like the trailers and the leaks ran away with this stuff. Early on in the film, we actually learned that Spider-Man is friends with Yolena Belova. Yolena is in this movie, and that was a good surprise. I love Florence Pugh. Where we meet her is she's in her office, so to speak, but it's a hot spring. She's naked the entire time, which was a surprising choice, but we only see her from like her shoulders. We never see anything like else. But basically it creates this awkward but funny scene between her and Peter where she's like, it's my office, my rules. You got to take off your clothes and get into the hot spring with me and we'll discuss business and I'll give you some info. Well, he takes everything off except for his boxers and his mask, and she makes fun of him for keeping on his mask. But this scene, although it's kind of hokey and funny, but like it was good comedy. It shows that he is taking his secret identity seriously. And it's like, it's been a while since we've had a Marvel movie with just like an attractive woman being able to be attractive, and we meet her naked in a hot spring. So it looks like they're, I don't know, getting back to their target audience a bit. Well, after that, Spider-Man gets more concerned with like these overshadowings, and they're getting really into his head. But they try to get into his head, but he pushes them out. He's the only one that they can't get into. After all this goes down, he starts to mutate, which we've seen in the trailers, but he starts to mutate full on. He wakes up in a web cocoon, and he starts flipping out, and it's really hilarious because there's this girl that tries to like hit on him in the lobby of their hotel. And he is just like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, we do live on the same floor, that's it, that's nice. And it showcases how awkward, like, romance is in the modern world. It was hilarious. But after he wakes up from his cocoon, he crawls through the floor of their apartment building, and he has to just grab whatever clothes are available because he woke up from his cocoon in just his underwear. So he grabs her clothes from the wash, and he meets her in the elevator, and she's like, are those my clothes? And he's like, no. And the dog of her starts barking at him, and it's just this really awkward tension, but it's hilarious. Well, after all of these strange happenings, he goes to see the Hulk, and the Hulk is a professor at a college, and basically introduces him to the idea of an inhibitor chip to silence or take away powers and regulate things within his nervous system, because he's like on a trip. He's also balancing this with the depression of losing his friend and girlfriend, because he crashes one of their parties, because Ned and MJ live together, like their plan from when they were back in high school, when they were all three going to live together. But since Peter's out of the picture, it's just her and Ned. And basically he sees that MJ's with a new guy. So yeah, he's balancing all of that trauma with this new trauma of just like mutating. So after he gets the idea from the Hulk, he creates a couple, but they keep failing. And basically the character that's overshadowing everybody is starting to target people in Peter's life, because they figure out that Peter is Peter because they find his apartment and they start going through his things. But they don't really care about his identity, but they use it to infiltrate the minds of MJ. And it creates this really intense scene. That tension that we haven't had in a long time, where it's like his personal life is a serious threat to being Spider-Man that he worries about. We haven't had that in a long time. We haven't had that in like since TASM 2. So it was good to have that tension back, where it feels like he's actually fighting to conceal his identity and fight for what Peter has and keep it safe. But after this, that character throws MJ off the side of a building, and well, he saves her. But this leads to him finally getting a glimpse at who is causing all this. And spoiler alert here, it is revealed we see Sadie Sink. And he does some research and he figures out that she is in fact Jean Grey. And the theater gasped and we're like, yeah. And I'm like, that's right. So yeah, the theories were true. My theory was true. She's Jean Grey, and she's a perfect Jean Grey. She's the best Jean Grey that I have seen. And it's like, you know how X-Men always has that like gritty feel, like they're always on the run, and it's got like a different feel. It almost always feels like it's taking place perpetually in the 90s. We get some flashbacks, and that's exactly how that feels. And she feels larger than life. She's really powerful. Her powers are really cool to see. And over the course of the film, they grow because she has to overcome some stuff. And basically there's this organization in the movie that is trying to utilize everything bad and turn it for good, right? Like Shocker's gloves and just collect the hand and collect everything that has been a threat in the past and make it good. But it turns out that they were just trying to utilize this stuff to, you know, get ahead of the curve and make sure they have no threats, reverse engineer everything, and be able to have a way to take down everything and everyone. Well, Spider-Man doesn't know this, and over the course of the film, as he's chasing Jean Grey, he accidentally turns Jean Grey over to these people. And the guy, to me, was an illusion of William Stryker, and I think he was supposed to be. But yeah, so Spider-Man realizes he messes up and goes in to save her. But this is where we realize something. Peter is talking to MJ and said basically when Jean overshadowed her, it was instant and she didn't remember anything. But Bill, he had said that the last words that Jean had uttered to Spider-Man, Sarah, were probably something she had tapped into his head to try to screw with him. But then he puts these two and two together that wouldn't have been possible because MJ said that she remembered nothing. So he goes to try to rescue Jean, and it's revealed that Jean had a sister. Her name was Sarah, and their parents gave up on them when they were mutants. So they were the only two things they had of each other. They taught each other how to use and harness their powers and their skills. But Sarah gets kidnapped by Bill and murdered. So Jean is now at the mercy of Bill, the murderer of her sister, and she knows Spider-Man turned her over to this. So basically they have this one final battle where she basically flips out after realizing that her sister was murdered, and she overshadows the half of New York City. And Frank is on the outskirts of this while Peter's on the inside. So they're working together to try to take down that force field. Well, Spider-Man finally lets her in his head, and she sees Aunt May, and she takes the place of Peter, who are having this emotional conversation, and she sees May's light, and she's brought back over out of her anger. And basically, Frank doesn't know that it's headed down, right? So he's out on the outskirts and he takes a shot. So right as Jean has decided that she has been brought back out of her anger, Frank pulls the trigger and Spider-Man is shot lying in a pool of blood, using his body as a shield for Jean Grey. Jean sees his sacrifice and is absolutely freaking heartbroken, because in his head, their last conversation was, she said, "I have no one." And he said, "Well, you have me," because she thought she had to do this alone, and so did he through the course of this film. But they realized that they had each other. So this was especially heartbreaking to Jean. It was the only person that she had in her life as even a possibility. So you think Peter Parker's going to die. The entirety of New York is depressed and sad, and they're waiting with bated breath. But Jean manages to use her powers to keep him alive, and he pulls out of it. And the movie ends basically with Peter kind of at a good place with Ned and MJ again. Jean Grey is off on her own, probably heading to Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters. The Punisher knows Peter's identity, and they're friends now. He actually gets him out of the tight spot in the hospital. He dresses up Peter as a regular dude and puts on the Spider-Man suit in the window to try to cause a distraction. I was literally gripping my seat and holding my breath when he had been shot. I thought that they were going to kill him, and I thought that the rumors at that point in time were going to be trumors. But no, and then the score in this film is absolutely freaking amazing, next level. It has some beautiful synths. It's done by Michael Giacchino, and he has evolved since the days of Homecoming, and you can feel it. This movie just feels grander. It's a wide scale. It feels like a refresh. It feels like they finally locked in again and remembered how to do Spider-Man. Like, it gave me some flashbacks to the Raimi era. It gave me flashbacks to the TASM era. This is probably my favorite Spider-Man movie, like the one that's felt like a Spider-Man movie and felt serious since TASM. And it also ends with a post-credit scene of Spider-Man off-world and then not knowing his location. This is Spider-Man Will Return. So I guess that means he's confirmed for Avengers Doomsday. But overall, I give this movie, if we're doing Letterboxd style rating, a 5 out of 5. It was amazing. No pun intended. It was spectacular. Full pun intended. I loved it, and I need to see it again. And also, fun fact, they had an 11 o'clock show. I've had my tickets for 3 weeks, right? And they were for 12 o'clock. I found the 11 o'clock show and exchanged my tickets. But when we get there, me and the crowd were told that the studio said that no theater can put it on earlier than 12, so they canceled our 11 o'clock show, and I had to wait an hour. But waiting an hour was worth it. This is my film of the year. Have you guys seen Spider-Man Brand New Day yet? Are you guys going to see Spider-Man Brand New Day? Make sure to let me know your thoughts and takes in the comments below, as I look forward to hearing them very much. This movie is generational in my book. Spider-Man's back, baby. Thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, as it really does help out my channel and helps me to create more videos like this. And as always, Brotato Chips, thank you very much for watching ciNATEmatic and for bearing with probably a disheveled review as I drive. Peace be with y'all. With great power comes great responsibility. Remember that.